Hi, welcome to another episode of Webcam Sessions. Today we're going to be learning something that's special to me. We're going to be learning the very first song I ever learned on an ukulele. My grandfather played ukulele a little bit, and the story goes that my grandmother's friend had a ukulele, and my grandpa would go over and borrow it from their sorority. And one day when bringing the ukulele back, he sang this song for my grandma, and I'm here now, right? So I actually was just at my grandma's service. She passed away a couple weeks ago, and I got to play a little instrumental version of this song at the end of it, which was pretty special. So I thought it'd be really fitting to play through this song today, learn the first part and these chords. It's a lot of fun. It's actually a really good exercise of a song too. So let's go ahead and dive right in. So what we're going to start with is the intro part, and the intro sounds something like this. Really simple, right? So what we'll do is we'll take our middle and our index fingers. We'll place the middle on the 4th fret of the C string and our index on the 3rd fret of the E string. And now what we're going to do is we're going to play just straight down, and you'll make sure that when you're playing this, if you're using a low G, it'll sound a little bit different. It won't sound quite right. It still kind of works, but it sounds best with a high G. So make sure if you have a high G, you're using that one. But what we're going to do is take our thumb, and we're going to play G, C, E, A. So we're just going straight through with a little bit of a swing feel between them. So the G, C has a little bit closer proximity to one another, and then G, C, and then E, A. So instead of G, C, E, A, it's G, C, E, A. Pretty cool, right? Now from here, we're going to pivot these fingers down 2 frets. So it's at 3 on the C string with the middle finger, and at 2 on the E string with the index finger. We're going to do the same thing. G, C, E, A. So we start at 4 and 3, G, C, E, A. Pivot down to 3 and 2, G, C, E, A. And then to close up this, we're just going to move down 2 more frets so that we're 0, 2, 1, 0 with our middle finger at the 2nd fret of the C string, index on 1st of the E, go G, C, E, A, and then strum through a G7 chord. All that you'll do there is take the ring finger and add it onto the 2nd fret of the A string and then strum through it. So the whole thing sounds something like this. And then we'll repeat it. Very cool. So now we're going to go into the chords for this song, and then we're also going to work on the strumming pattern. The strumming pattern that's going to be used is going to be our down, down, up, down, up pattern, which we've actually talked about in different episodes before. You can actually click on a link below to get another example of this pattern being used. But let's go ahead and focus on the chords at first. So the first chord we're going to play is a C chord. All that we do is take our ring finger, place it on the 3rd fret of the A string, and that's it. Now the next chord that's played is an E7. And what you're going to do is pivot that ring finger down 1 fret to fret 2 on the A. Add the middle finger on the 2nd fret of the C string, and index finger on the 1st fret of the G. And what I find helps a little bit with this chord is notice how my hand is sort of tilted a little bit. So it's not going straight up and down, but by tilting the fingernails a little bit kind of towards my right shoulder, because I play standard, if you're playing left-handed, it'd be tilted toward your left shoulder. But the point is tilting the shoulder away from the hand can help make it easier to fret. If you're going too straight up and down, it can be hard to get a good angle there. So that's the E7, 1, 2, 0, 2. The next chord after this is an A7. What we're going to do is remove these 2 fingers, our middle and ring, and move our index down 1 string. So it's on the 1st fret of the C string. Right? And that's all there is to the A7. And when we're playing the song, the A7 is going to get 2 bars worth of this. So go ahead and play the A7 again for now. All right. So far we have our C, E7, A7, A7 again. Very cool. Now we're going to go to a D7. And when I was first learning the ukulele, this was my first experience with a bar chord, because this was the first song that I learned. And so what we're going to do is take our index finger, bar it all the way across the second fret, and make sure we're getting right up to that fret wire, just like we talked about in an earlier episode talking about fretting. I want to make sure that we're right up against that wire without coming over, so that makes that break angle easier. And then take our middle finger and place it on the third fret of the A string. Now, we're going to talk about two variations to do this here in a second, but for the exercise perspective, to become a better player, let's play the D7 like this. All right, so we're using index finger all the way across and middle finger here on the third fret of the A. All right, there's your D7 chord. Now the next chord after this is a G7 chord. And the way we play G7 is our index finger is going to move down to 1 on the E, add the middle finger on 2 of the C, and the ring finger on 2 of the A. So we have 0, 2, 1, 2. Now, just a moment ago I mentioned there's another way of playing the D7, and that's from an efficiency standpoint. So sometimes we make things more difficult to make it a better practice, but I'm a lazy person at heart, and to be a lazy person, you got to be very efficient, I think. So a more efficient way of playing that D7 would be take that index finger, bar it across the second fret still, and now instead of taking the middle finger and placing it on 3, bar it across the first fret with the index finger. That makes it a little bit easier to push down because now you have 2 fingers instead of just 1. And now take the ring finger, place it on the third fret of the A string. Now this might feel a little bit more uncomfortable at first, but you might also notice it can be a lot easier to get a good sound out of this chord. But the real magic is the next chord that we play after this is a G7. And with that G7, our ring finger is already in position in the sense of as we go to the G7, remove our middle finger, move the index down to 1, and we just slide that ring finger down to 2. And that allows us to stack the chord much more efficiently, right? Because it's a much quicker motion, going from index with the middle barred ring there into the G7 with, again, that ring finger sliding down 1. So the first way, which is inefficient but a good practice exercise, going from this to this. Second way, which is more efficient, looks like this to this. So both ways will work, and so it doesn't really matter which one you do when you're playing the song. It just matters that you give them both a go, see which one you like more from the standpoint of efficiency versus a good little practice habit, right? So after we play our G7, we play a C chord again, same as the first chord of the song, and then we play a G7 again, and then it restarts at that point. So those are the chords that we're going to be using. C, E7, A7, D7, G7, C, G7. There's another A7 in there too. But let's go ahead and now work on playing a pattern that we can practice with this song. So this was one of the first strum patterns that I learned how to do. And we've actually talked about this in earlier episodes of this series. And if you haven't already, again, check out the link below talking about this strum pattern and some concepts behind it. But the most important thing to do when you're strumming an ukulele is make sure that if you're not going to strike the strings, your hand continues to move. That sounds a little confusing, but with a pattern like my down, down, up pattern, if I were to play it as written like this, down, down, up, with no misses being shown, it might translate to something like this. Down, down, up, down, up. Hear how terrible that sounds? That's how I sounded when I first started doing it. And it wasn't until I realized that the hand has to continually move to create a good sound of rhythm. So you want to make sure when you're practicing this, you're going down, miss, down, up, miss, up, down, up, down, miss, down, up, miss, up, down, up. That's going to keep the regularity of the strum going, so we want to make sure that we keep it moving. For more information on strumming like that, please check out the Ultimate Ukulele Strumming Course that I did here with Ukulele Underground. You can find a link to that below as well. It goes into depth with this basic pattern as well as some really advanced ones too. But now that we've got the strum pattern, let's go ahead and try playing it with the chords. So we're going to start here. We're going to play the C chord for 1 beat bar, which is going to be 1 full rotation of that strum pattern. Then after that chord, we're going to go to the E7, give that 1 full rotation. Then we're going to go to the A7, we're going to give that one 2 rotations. And then from the A7, we'll go to the D7, either this way or this way. Give that 1 rotation. Then the G7, Give that one rotation. C, 1, G7, 1, back to C. All right? So let's go ahead and give this a go, nice and slow, and then we'll try doing it a little bit faster. So it should sound something like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pretty cool, all right? So let's go ahead and try it a little bit faster now. So we'll go more at this sort of speed. So I'll play us in off of the G7, and then we'll go into the C chord together. So here we go. Very good. Now, one of my favorite parts about this chord progression is playing it really fast because it gets our fingers really moving. So what I want you to try to work on is getting it up to as fast of a speed as you can play it at. Now, I'm not going to play it the fastest I can play it because I might mess it up, but I'm going to play it pretty fast and about the speed that I want you to try to work towards. Pretty cool, right? It's a nice chord progression just as a little bit of a warm-up to get your hands moving. So, pretty fun song. I hope that you enjoy it as much as I have. And this one's for Grandma, and I'll see you guys next week.